Okay, now we are live. After the normal couple of hiccups, we were able to successfully turn on the live stream. So that's excellent. All right, thanks to anyone who's hopped on today. Awesome to see a couple people so far. Hopefully we get a couple more, would be awesome. Yeah, so today I'm just kind of going to play around some different things, explain some different things, and then we'll probably build a bit of a project as well, so that we can actually kind of do some examples of some different techniques and different ideas and things. So yeah, how's everyone's day going so far at this moment? I think we only got like a couple people on, but either way, that's totally cool. I feel like people can watch this kind of later and get some help later on as well. So I'm going to go into create a new project here into our Friday streams. So I'll name this one Friday. I think we finally started naming this correctly. Friday stream, like that. So I'll do Friday stream 2024 02 and 16. All right, here we are. Load that up. Cool. So we got some cool things coming up here too in the future, with some coming updates, which include probably like 3 different things we're fairly close to working out. Everything that we do ends up taking about twice as long as we set out to do it, because you just run into so many hurdles along the way. But so one new thing that's going to be pretty cool is some updated lighting. This involves basically all like ambient lighting. So it's really nice in that when you basically decrease your venue lighting or any light, a lot of times you get a lot of ambient lighting from smaller stuff. So let's say that there are some downlights here, and in our venues, they're not really giving off light, because if we were to add an individual light to every fixture, it would be very unoptimized. So anyways, just all that to say that smaller things will actually give some more ambient light, which really helps it create a much more realistic look and vibe. So then you basically get kind of that glow or that ambient sort of bounce diffuse lighting off of other walls and things. Another new thing that's coming up soon is the ability to create custom venues, basically. And this has been a requested feature for quite a while, and I think it'll be really, really fun and just a huge advantage for people to use. Right now, when you build venues, you can either request a venue to be created within our library, which is really great. You get some really nice, accurate rooms that can be added in. Like this was just a recent one that we just added in here, as well as any extra information like floor plans and stuff like that. We try to add in there as well. But a lot of times you might not either have the time or the money or the whatever to get a custom room built and all of the details, and maybe won't need it either. So we have this just simple rectangular room option where you can just create a basic rectangular room, and you have a couple different options for ceiling looks. And sorry if I'm explaining this and you already understand all this. But anyway, so the new feature will be that you'll be able to custom build a room. And what that will look like is that you'll have a number of options, but you'll be able to have a button here allows you to create a custom room. It'll ask you if you want a floor plan to add in, so that basically you can draw on top of the floor plan. And it prompts a number of ways to be able to make sure that when you draw it, it's at an accurate scale. So it'll scale the floor plan to be the right size, and then basically after that's done, you'll just draw the walls out on top of it. And once the walls are drawn, you'll be able to, it'll automatically add floors and ceilings, and then from there you'll be able to customize those, and then you'll also be able to add in things like doors, windows, and kind of just add things in that are in the actual venue that you're trying to emulate. And so so that gives a lot more options for adding a venue in, so that's coming up. And then finally, we have a 3D import feature that's coming up as well. And that's pretty nice because you'll be able to, if there's ever these random projects where you really need to import something custom, like a 3D model of I don't know, a pinball machine or something that might not be in our library, you can do that through that feature, as well as you could even like import a 3D model of a venue if you had it, or different things like that too. And then further down the road, we do want to do an export feature as well. So we've kind of got the knowledge of how to do it. We just need to implement it and everything. But that will allow you to create your look. So maybe you have, your whole design created, and then you want to export that into some other program that will potentially give you more operational information, like something like Vectorworks or some other programs, potentially some lighting programs, so you could kind of transfer or still have the same workflow that maybe you already currently have. All right, so all that said, those are just some updates that we've had. This week we made a quick video about grouping things. And if you haven't checked that out, definitely go take a look. We're basically talking about how you can add a bunch of objects in and group them. So in this example right here, when you add the scenery, all of these individual tiles are grouped together. And that saves a lot of time in doing things, but there might be scenarios where you want to group things yourself. So if you were to go in, let's say, take one of these tiles and create some other type of form with these. Let's say you just copied these up. I'm just holding my Alt key and dragging here. But let's say you wanted to make this into a group. So right now they're all just separate objects, and instead of kind of dragging and selecting them all every time, you can just create a group out of them by this group button over here. So I'm going to hit group, and now they're in a group. And so from here, I can like duplicate them and do other things with them. And this just makes your flow a lot faster. So anyways, there's a video on that we just created, and you can take a look at that anytime. What else with that? What's also nice about that is like being able to add lights to it and things too. So if I were to add a light to all these, and I wanted these to just, again, stay as one group, I would go in here and create like a group out of that. And now I can just move the whole thing as one. That can definitely come in hand with like seating stuff too. So if there's some specific type of seating arrangement that you wanted to do, or lighting, if you were to be doing a lot of like lighting groups. It's kind of a bad example, but if you had a bunch of lights right here, you create a group of it, and then instead of having to select them all the time just to change the color, you can just group them and then change one color at a time. Bada boom, bada bing. Sweet. So that's that. What do we want to do next? Just kind of keep showing some different things. Maybe some more recent stuff, that possibly things that you don't know about. We get asked a lot of questions every week, so some of those things kind of pop up, and I like to add them in these streams to just kind of feed off of what other people are asking about, so that it potentially helps other people too. So, often what one person is wondering is something that another person is probably wondering too, but hasn't quite asked the question yet, I guess. So some of those things would be like, one person was asking about creating specific measurements. So let's say like you had a stage in your design here. So obviously with this stage is pretty obvious because I'm just going to type the measurements in here, right? But let's say that you didn't know that this was 30 feet for some reason. There's a couple ways to measure things. So one, the kind of fastest, easiest, and sort of built-in method would just be to click and drag. So if I were to start here and click and drag, I'm going to get a measurement up there. It's going to tell me, and I could go to this front view. I'm just clicking 1, 2, 3, 4 on my keyboard to change the camera views, by the way. So O is orbit, 1 is first person camera view, 2 is top, 3, 4, 5 is like side and front view and all that. And you can find those shortcuts here as well, the shortcuts button. But then another way could be if you wanted to use this markup tool, you could hit ruler and create a little arrow to tell you the measurement. So something like that. And you can, if I just drag out this, obviously there's no real, you don't see the arrow being drawn as it's going, right? So if you wanted to know how far you're drawing, you just look up here at this distance and you can see that it's moving. So now it's at 30 feet. So I would let go once I got to that distance. And then finally, kind of a third way, which is kind of just like a random way to do it. But if you wanted to type in a specific measurement and see how far that is or something, you could just drag in one of these basic cubes here, and when you click on them, what's going on there? When you click on that, you'll get this these sliders over here. You can see that just changed. And these sliders over here will give you measurements. And so I'm in feet right now. If I go to settings, my distance measurement is in feet. You'll see that over here as well. It says feet. So if I were to change this to 30, then my box will be 30 feet. If I wanted it to be like 1 foot, I can see that. So you could, and I think I've talked about this before a number of times, but you can create like kind of custom stairs and stuff using these shapes. So maybe I'll do something like that right now. But this stage is 30 feet, and it's just the stairs that we have right now. We definitely want to add more stair options, but they're fairly basic and they just kind of populate on the side of the stage here. But if you want to do something a little bit more custom or just different, or maybe there's some vendor that has some type of stairs that you want to use, you could do it this way. And there's a number of things you could do this way. Actually, we'll go ahead and I'm going to try to find like a glowing gradient so we can create like some sort of cubes, stair cubes, if you will. There's a model that we're going to build that will go in this section that will allow you, that will kind of, they're kind of like aluminum tubing with, I can't even think right now. I didn't sleep enough, but they're like cubes that can kind of glow, have LED built inside of them. That's something we're building right now, but you could do something like that if you were to kind of custom build it. So I'll show you how to do that. Obviously this can take a little more time, but if you were to use something like this often, then it would be worth it to just build it once, and then you could reuse it again in other projects. So let me see if I can open, like, I'm just searching right now for a for like an image of a gradient kind of, and then I can add that to this. And yeah, so let's see here. We got this guy, so I will do this. All right, so what I want to do here is, this is like a 2-foot high stage, so I'll set this stair to be something like 1.5 feet. That's probably too long. So we have the rise and the run of the stair, and I think this could just be 1 foot. Let me change my snapping to just be 0. So what I'm going to do, yeah, this won't look perfect, but we'll just play with it. So hopefully we get the idea across. Some nice cat pictures in here that our web developer, I think, added, so that's fun. It's always nice when I log into my account and I see extra images that our web developer was testing, so I wonder if that's her cat. Anyways, let me try to throw in this image here. All right, so I have this gradient. This looks kind of crazy, but let's say that we had like, I don't know, a 2-foot little glowing box here, and you can adjust the brightness of it with the intensity slider here. You can also change it to be like a glossy finish. It's a little hard to tell right now, but you can change that. So if you wanted, basically the way this would look, and what I was going for was that it would have aluminum edges to it. So you could kind of create that look if you were to go into something like Photoshop or Canva and basically just create some edges around the sides of this guy. I might just do that just to show you what's up real quick here. And if you don't have Photoshop, you could use like Canva for free, or Photoshop even I think at this point has their free version of basically the copycat of Canva, which is I think it's called Adobe Express. So not that if you wanted to like stay in Adobe's ecosystem for whatever reason, I think you can use that one for free now. All right, let me just open a new quick file here. Let's do sure. And I need to, I was just talking to someone else, I think yesterday, and basically saying that, you know, the program that we have here makes everything much faster than in a lot of other programs, which, you know, certain things always take a little bit more time and whatnot, but it's just kind of stating that a lot of times the thing that will take me the longest whenever I actually do it my own projects is creating like images of things, usually for screens. So like for presentations that you might want to show on your LED screens or whatever screens you're using. That, and then sometimes just coming up with the concept in general can take a while too, but if your client already knows exactly what they want, then it wouldn't take as long. All right, what I'm going to do here is just make this 347, so I'll just make this into a square, I think. Well, no. yeah, I'll make this into a square. So I'll go canvas size is 347. So a really small image, but that should be fine. And you could probably, honestly, this gradient isn't the best option here because it's got like multiple colors going crazy. But basically all I want to do is create a frame around this, which will kind of emulate a aluminum like siding sort of tubing. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change that fill opacity, and I think I can just do the stroke, and we'll do inside, and this will create a bit of a square. And this isn't going to be perfect either because the size is just very random. So it's just getting a very, there's no specific dimensions I'm creating here. All right, and then I'm just going to create a color overlay to make this like a gray. Actually, I think just, okay, you know, black would maybe look better, but we would kind of, I'm thinking we want to make this look like it's a brushed aluminum or something. I don't know, you could get very creative with that if you wanted to, but I'll go ahead and save this guy and then we'll upload it and keep playing around with that. I'm kind of already in territory that I didn't know I was going into. But anyways, we'll just keep going with it so you can kind of see this. And if you have any questions about this, definitely let me know. All right, so I'm going to save this guy. Let's do this to our downloads folder. Call this glowing cube or something. I'm going to upload it. And I just realized too that this, there could be one caveat with doing it this way, which is that your fake sort of aluminum siding that we're trying to create here could have the glowing effect as well, which we probably don't want. So there's another way we could do that, but we'll see what happens here. We'll just play with it. But we will get a good result by the end of it, I think. All right, sorry, this is taking me forever. When I upload images locally, it takes me more time because I have to do it a different way. So find out where I need to go so that I can upload it. Where in the world? Here we go. Okay, so I need to upload this guy. I feel like I always have to apologize when I do these streams because it's just not quite as entertaining as some other types of streams. I just kind of do it to sort of help people out that need any help, and then also kind of just to keep myself relevant as well, so that I'm constantly, using the program as much as I can to make sure that we can still do everything we need to do and that sort of stuff as well. So I apologize if we have boring streams here. One day I'll figure out a way to make this less boring. I just haven't figured that out yet. Okay, anyways, we're finally here. All right, cool. We got a little tubing around this now. So as you can see, the problem is that the tubing is also going to glow because it's just creating an intensity of the whole texture. So one way to potentially solve that, let me see here. If I were to create, I'm just going to create like a mock-up staircase here. So if I were to do 1 foot, let's do something like this, and then basically what I want to do is make this a tiny bit wider. Hold on, let me do it this way. All right. So I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to do 2.1. It's going to overlap a bunch, and I want to make this like that, and yeah, so this is kind of not the most like optimized or speedy way of doing this, but basically you could do it this way and create individual boxes, if you will, like this, to kind of create a frame around it. But you know, maybe you don't need to go that far to do it. I'm probably not going to do that in this example. But I do want it to look good. So let's just see what we can do here. So if I adjust this a little bit, the intensity, and then if you adjust this light spill here, it'll change how much basically light is going to reflect from it. So let's make it a little bit more glossy. So now we can see there's some gloss in that guy. I'm going to turn off my focus so that it's not going blurry. So that looks not too bad. It's kind of cool. I think the only thing that honestly is going to look weird is that that the gradient is kind of very specific. You probably just want to use more of like a circular gradient, something that would be more like, I think we can do a circular gradient. Something that would probably be more like this would be more realistic, I guess. Let me do one more. Oops. Actually, with Photoshop, I think you kind of need to do it this way to be able to get color on the gradient. So if I were to do this and change the color. I also wonder, I haven't not played with this much, so I don't know for sure how this works, but let's say we went white and then I want a radial. Scale it larger. And I want this to be fully opaque. I think that this would work. Oops. Sorry, I'm kind of experimenting right now. But yeah, so I think that we could do this, and where did my gradient go? Here. I don't know why this is so offset. This is probably why. I don't know why it's so far over here. Reset alignment. I don't know. This is something I guess I haven't, not too familiar with. I don't know why it's. Does anyone in the stream know why this is offset? Because I have no idea. It's like off to the left. I don't get that. Perceptual, classic. Oh, this is so weird. Aha, align with layer. Okay. Anyway, so this is going to be where it gets kind of nuanced, because you could probably go back and forth all day trying to get the exact right gradient that you want. Let's go with like this. And then I might have to pick a color. Let's actually start with this, but I think the thing is if I do this and then change the color in the program, it's going to change the color of the aluminum siding too. So if I knew I wanted a specific color, I would change that here. So if I wanted like a light blue or something like this, I'd probably do that here. And it's probably going to look a little more accurate or something if I do it this way. So let's just do this, because why not? All right, glowing cube number 2. By the end of this, I'll have like 30 different glowing cubes. Upload this guy. And then this will be cooler, I think. All right, let's see. Sweet, that does look cooler. Okay. So again, still not like beautifully perfect, but at least that's kind of how you do something like that. So now you can see better the light spill on there. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep this glossy so that it kind of looks glossy, and then you can see the difference of the intensity there if we change that. But anyways, so if I adjust these and let's make them, I don't know how big these would be. Oops. Maybe they're 2 feet, I guess. I don't think they would look exactly like this because I think they would go under here or something, but. And let's, if we change our snapping settings over here to 2 feet exactly, it will be golden. So what you could do as well is create a group of each one of these stairs and then just duplicate them like this. And so I'll show you as well, if I were to change the color of these, you are able to change the color, but once you already have a color on there, it's going to kind of like put the color on top of another color, if you will. So if I turn the intensity down, it turns the texture color down, so now there's more of a like pink to it. So you have some ability to kind of play with that and get a... That's why if you were to not have used a... Well, let's just show the difference here, since we're going down this rabbit hole. There's also a funny thing. I feel like sometimes I'm just talking to myself when I do these streams, but I think that's okay, and I just have to get used to that. All right, so let's try this, because if I wasn't talking, it would just be like, anyone's watching, it would just probably be, I don't know, there'd be no information. You wouldn't know what the heck I was thinking. So anyways, this is what I'm thinking, and let me save this again. JPEG. Do glowing cube 3. Top-notch quality, and let's see here, upload. Cool thing too is if you do create some kind of custom assets like this, obviously it's a little bit time consuming to do something like this, but once you do it, you can kind of go back and reuse these assets. So now, like in my images folder here, well, they're down here right now, but you know, I'm always going to have these, so I could just kind of, even if I didn't duplicate this project to kind of reuse these assets, it would be easy enough to just kind of go create another staircase or something, or create a glowing cube and just like throw this texture on here, and then reuse it all the time. So it's definitely nice to have that. There are like certain textures that I've made over time that I go back to pretty often, which is kind of helpful. All right, so we wanted to try this white one, this white texture here. Cool, so you can see that so the concern I had with this is that if you want to change the color now, it's going to change the color of the sort of aluminum siding, which I didn't really want to change, but we'll see here. Blue. You know what, I take that back. I guess this is not really possible to do it that way. Because if I wanted it to be a specific color, like this, and then make it glow, yeah, I don't think it's gonna work, actually. I can't change the color. Okay, so I take it back, sorry. You kind of have to change the color in the texture. If you change the color here, the only way to see it is by lessening the intensity, because you're just changing the color of the cube and not the texture on top of it, if that makes sense. So we might be able to make that possible so that you can change the color of the texture as well. I believe that's possible. We just need to do some fiddling to get that to work. Anyways, we'll say we got like a nice large staircase here. What am I forgetting here? Just make sure that I select them all. Let's change this to 0, put this in the middle. And then for the stage, I'm just going to maybe change the color of this as well. Can I get it to match? It's probably something more like this, but obviously it's not glowing, so it's not going to look as perfect. And then I might make the stage a little slightly smaller so that that is level with that. I don't know, again, not perfect, but decent. All right, cool. So that's that. What do we want to do now? You could almost, you know, when designing things, this object right here is like super eye-catching because it's going to be really bright and take a lot of your eye to it. So you could almost base your whole design around one thing like this, and maybe then do like one more glowing thing up here because this thing's so low on the floor that, you know, most people in the audience aren't going, well, not most people, but some people in the audience won't be able to see the full staircase. It's just not high enough. So yeah, you could, we could try playing off of that design. So for something like that, I think, let's see, we got a lot of blue. You do like a couple shades of blue, and then this wall's blue too. You do a couple shades of blue, which would look nice. So maybe one more shade. If you had like some chairs on here, just put these in here for placeholders right now. And I think I set them a little bit off, so I'm going to make sure it's centered. These are pretty white, which could look good too because it would contrast well with the blue, but if you wanted to do one more shade of blue, you could really do anything you want, but I'm just telling you the rules, that's all. Just kidding, I'm not very funny, but anyways, just again talking to myself here. Let's go ahead and throw this chair in. I kind of like this chair, and then I like to change the color of it. I don't know if we'll be able to get a good shade of blue here, but let's play with it. Maybe like a deeper blue. So try this. So the thing is with some of these is that because these are all different materials, sometimes it can be hard to get another shade of that same sort of type of blue. So you kind of have to play with it a little bit. You know, this is like somewhat close, but it's got some green in it. So maybe I'll go with something like that and then just adjust the amount of blue in it possibly. And maybe it also will look a little bit different once you got some stage lighting on it. So let me just throw some lighting on here that's not blue. So yeah, that looks a little bit different now. I tend to like to keep my lighting a little bit cooler with the stage wash. You know, obviously you can definitely go warmer, but I find a lot of times that at least on stage, if you're using a lot of cool colors in general, whites and stuff, the cooler stage wash tends to look a little bit nicer. But if you're going for a warmer setting, then I would probably use the warmer stage wash. All right. Any questions so far? Are you enjoying the stream? Are you having a blast? You can just go ahead and like it if you are, because that would help. That's all I need. I just need some likes. Get a little dopamine hit. All right. I meant to do that at the beginning of the stream. I was going to add some music to this. Let's see if we can find anything. Just add a little bit of background music because it can make things a little better. I always forget where to get it though. Explore. Yeah, there's like a public domain kind of music library from YouTube. But for some reason I can never find it. Because they also have like another music site that audio library music, free public. Let's just try this. Oh, this is awful. No, please stop. Okay. Where the heck? Sorry, I'm just wasting time looking for this music now because I can never find it. Here it is, audio library. Okay, finally. All right, cool. Let's just do this. All right, please let me know if that's too loud. I have no idea. Alrighty then. So we got our blue set up here. All right, so from here, I'm going to do just a backdrop and start with something basic. Like a dark gray like that. And we'll just actually, I'm going to throw on some uplights on it first. Whoops. All right, let me do some uplights on here. So I'm just adding uplights here. Sometimes when you use this lighting feature and you use the lights here, it will auto-populate the lights to wherever they might normally go. It's kind of how we have it set up. So so if you're kind of populating the ellipsoidal feature or the fixtures, the Licos, they're going to kind of show up downstage. And they're going to show up. I think usually this is set by default to like 16 feet or something. But so what will happen now is if you use this uplight, it will also be at 16 feet high. So your uplights might be floating in the air downstage, or I'm sorry, upstage. So you just want to change the height of it, or you could just populate it and then drag them down. But I usually just do this. But it's a little weird because there's so many fixtures. 5 different types of fixtures, and each one of them normally is in a different sort of area within the space of a stage. anyways, just wanted to explain that. So same thing with like the moving lights. If I were to just add them in now, you actually wouldn't see them because they're at 0 feet high. So they're actually sitting right here just below the floor. So if I were to adjust those to 16 feet high, you can see now they're right here. And the top of them is going to be up there. So I might move these a little lower. Probably do like 3 at 50 feet wide. And I might just turn these down for the moment so we can focus on other things, but move these up a little bit. Probably need a taller ceiling too for this, but anyways, so I kind of want to play with, let's see. We kind of wanted to make our eyes go straight to this guy, so let's change this back to like a darker color, and then I want to maybe do this again. Now we have kind of more of a blank slate where, again, our eyes are kind of just going to the staircase, this cool staircase that we put all of our budget into this one. All right. All right, what's next? Let's look at adding some screens maybe. What do I want to do here? Let's do some scenery first, I think. And let's do some cool pattern stuff. And so I think what we'll do is we'll basically, your eye will go to the blue stairs for the most part. And then we'll do some kind of accents of like a darker blue around, and then maybe we do one other accent, which would be like, honestly, maybe it'll be the seats. So maybe we do like this kind of like, what is it, like 60, 30, 10 or 15 rule, which is like 60% of your colors. This is more of like an interior design type of thing, but 6% of your color would be one color. 60% of the colors would be one color. And then you do a 30% of the space being another color, kind of an off color, and then that 10 or 15% would be kind of your accent color, so your brighter color. So let's try something like that. So I want to do the blue as kind of that 60%. And you could use this in designs because with your corporate clients, because typically a lot of brands and companies are going to have 2 to 3 colors in their palette. Sometimes only 2, right? Sometimes only 1. But it could be nice because then you could give one of their colors kind of the majority of the space, and then use that second color as just kind of the accent. So we'll see what we can do with that. So I think what I'm going to try to do is do like a pattern of some sort, like this. And we're just really playing around. I don't really know what I'm doing yet, so just change this to a blue. It's pretty dark blue. I think we need a little more like light blue in it. Mute it a bit. Something like that, I guess. And then we could do some cool things with the screens too. I like to kind of offset things, so you don't just have like one thing, another thing, but you kind of overlap things. So when I do stuff, if you can't hang screens all the time, it's harder to hang screens and kind of give depth and overlapping. So what I tend to do for that is ground support screens in those scenarios. So you could do obviously ground supported screens in different ways, but we'll just do like this for the sake of this project. So I'm going to go to this rigging point here, and I'm going to use this ground supported vertical truss option. I also had a question about this week, which was if you've played in the program and you've used the rigging options before, sometimes the vertical rigging like won't show up if you put in a specific dimension. And it's basically because, and we don't explain this very well, I'm sorry about that. We'll try to do better there, but basically the idea here is that we're using very specific sizes of truss. So if I were to kind of open this truss up here, zoom in on her. I have a 10-foot piece, 5 foot, 2.5, and 1 foot. And so what happens is if I type in some dimension like 17 feet, it just can't create that because it doesn't have the right truss sizes. I think in the future we'll do a fix to that where it will kind of scale or stretch one of the truss pieces to get the size that you need. We currently already do that for some of these things. I think we do that for backdrops, screens, and some other options so that basically you can get any size that you need. Doesn't matter if it's necessarily going to be possible in certain circumstances. But for the truss right now, it's like, you know, again, it has to be in a specific set. So with 16 works because it uses 2 8-foot pieces of truss. Anyways, just wanted to explain that. So like you can do any combination of dimensions that work with the truss sizes. So you could do 12.5 would work, and 16 would work, 18 would work, 20 would work. But for this, let's just start with 15 for now. And basically, I just kind of want to, what I want to do is I'm going to actually unlock this or ungroup this. And I'm just going to make one, well, let's see here. I'm going to my top view. And I'm going to what am I going to do? I just want to drag this out and create a little screen stand here. Probably just drag out a screen on top of it real quick. Let's do, actually I want to get a specific size, so I'm going to do that here. And I'll do a screen with a border here. This says monitor, but I use it often if I want to get a screen that doesn't have a trim kit around it. I'll just use this monitor option here. And basically it will create a screen with a border around it, so it works just as well. And then I can set the exact size I want it with this over here. So anyways, let's do this size. Or if you wanted to do something kind of different too, you could do like 2 3x1 screens, which can be cool because then you could use some iMag and stuff like that. However, you might also want to hang a screen here or something. Let's just do this for now. We can always adjust that later. You might need like 2 pieces of truss to hold this up. So basically you'd want like Sorry, let me ungroup these and create a group out of this. But basically you would do something like this, and then maybe you would connect them with some pipe or some other method to hold that up. All right, so I did that, and now I'm just going to duplicate that because it's all grouped together and stuff. Oops. So this is kind of nice, obviously, for your screens, because now you can just move these guys wherever you want to, and you don't have to be constrained to rigging them right off the upstage area. And so we'll just leave them there for the moment. And so yeah, so now we could kind of do some type of layering sort of thing. Let me unlock these groups real quick, and I'll put something on the screens here. This is another thing that you have to think about as well, which I didn't think about at first, which is that with the scenery and stuff, if you do want your eye to go to kind of one thing, like the staircase, that's great, but then you end up adding the screens and you're like, oh yeah, well, obviously your eye is going to go to the screens because it's probably the brightest thing in the room are the screens. So just something to think about if you're doing the scenery. All right, let's move these back a little bit, and I've got this blue set up here. So again, most of the stuff I think I want to be blue. I could honestly do like a full-on wall of these things. That would probably take a year to actually set up in real life, but it would look kind of cool. So we'll just play around with it. We don't have to keep anything. There's nothing wrong with trying things. I mean, it definitely already looks cooler because you have this full wall now. And I just want going to I don't know if you can hear my little kid, but she's talking over there. All right, cool. We're gonna go for another 30 minutes or so, see what we can get done. So this is pretty cool. I got a lot of blue going on, and I kind of dig it. And then again, we're going to think about trying to use the blue as like our main color, and then just adjust the room lighting a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and create like an accent color. I think this will be more like a sort of 60% blue, 30% nothing, and then maybe like a 5-10% of one color. So maybe the logo is one color and you get this awesome bright logo. Only question is going to be who's going to be the logo, right? We could also just adjust the scenery if whenever we want to as well. So at any point, I might come over to like this right side view here and just select all the scenery and say, well, actually, before I do that, just for safety, I'm going to copy and paste this back here. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because so basically if I want to start playing with scenery to just see what some other patterns and stuff look like, I just want to be careful because if I replace all the scenery, it could change the color that I got here, and I kind of like that color. So So anyways, I'm going to go back into this decor section, and I think this was some atomic stuff, part of them, just for the moment to see what that looks like. And yeah, so I kind of like the other pattern better, but maybe we can try one or two other ones. This one's kind of cool too. And you could obviously mix and match stuff too, so you could do like one column or whatever, you know. You could change all this. Let's just go back to what we had to begin with, which was these ones. And so what's nice is it didn't change the color, so we still have our color set there. And then I think I actually want to bring this drape back up a tad so that it kind of frames the backdrop a bit. And obviously this would all probably need to be rigged, so you'd probably need to go into your rigging options here and do something like this, and then probably hang some drape in front of it. So let's just do that real quick. I will go into staging here, and right here I just have we just have some basic drape, and what I'm going to do is just scale it down a bit to kind of create a little skirt in front of the drape. So I might make this the center one-ish, or I'll start it all the way over here, and then just kind of do this. And I still need to make some downstage truss. It looks like 2. Do that eventually. All right, so something like that would obviously work, and then you could hang some downlights off of that too, which might help once we get the like a logo in there. All right, so this is kind of cool. We've got this going on. We've got these layered in front. I'm gonna try to do like a 15-degree turn on these guys. See what that does. It's a little nicer. All right, so we got that going on there, and then, sorry, one more thing because I'm OCD, I guess. I'm going to grab all this, and I'm just going to move this up a tad because I want it to be a little bit higher than the screens here. All right, so we got that. Let's bring this in a little bit. What do I want to do now? I think, well, we could just throw in our accent piece. Question is what logo is it going to be? I'm just going to search for like a logo, and we'll make it like a cutout logo and throw it on the front of there. I want to say it's going to be something warm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just looking for logos. You probably kind of want to do something that's like a thicker logo, because if you had some logo that was sort of thinner, if you will, whether it was the font or something that was thinner, it would kind of get lost within this pattern. So you kind of need something thicker. Otherwise, you would want to change the pattern back here. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bad graphics I could use. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's do this. All right. I get to this point where I've all of a sudden got like 100 tabs open and I'm lost. Yeah, all right, let's add. All right, so this is pretty basic, but I thought it would fit decently here. I don't want this to be huge if it can. Although I think it was just going to be our kind of accent, but it'd be cool if it filled a lot of this space back here. Don't know the exact scale of this logo, so I'm just kind of throwing it in here. So I don't want it to cut off these people too much here, because then the people get lost. So I think we'll scale it down a little bit like this, and then I think that's pretty cool, but I think it'd be nice if there was something to kind of go alongside of it. So we also might want our lights to kind of hit it better. And you could play with that. You could do this type of lighting instead. So let's just change this out real quick. I'm going to delete these and then set these at here, and we'll do like 80 feet of light. We'll do like kind of just keep going until we get like a nice gradient. Is probably enough, and then we could do the same at the top. Maybe I'll do, all right, I'll do 13. And to create another one, I'll probably just duplicate these. So if I hold Alt and drag these up, what I can do is just kind of drag them up here and then just rotate them around there. Easy enough. I probably need to hang them in a little bit better spot. And at this point too, we would probably want either to move the truss, I'll just do that, forward. And if you wanted even kind of a better display of light onto the scenery there, you'd probably want to potentially hang these even further back and get the lights further forward. Kind of all depends, but if the situation permits, then you could play with that. As you can see, the downlighting there just doesn't look as nice because it's just much closer to the scenery there. All right, cool. So we got our blues and our pop of orange there. These screens now are kind of just funky because they have the funky gradient there. Might just do like a placeholder and see if we can get some. So in this screen section and content, we have just some placeholder images where you might throw something like this to kind of give less, you know, some of these placeholders have less color in them, so you can just pop that on there to not take as much attention away from that. So yeah, maybe I'll do these. And let's see, what else could we do here? Yeah, so this logo is just kind of funky because it sits in this weird spot where then it's cutting off these people on stage. But I don't really want to make it that much smaller. It'd be perfect if it's at like right there. If you had these people standing instead of sitting, it would probably look better. And maybe just remove them for the moment. So I could do just kind of move them out of the way. And, you know, maybe we bring them back later, but for the time being, I'll just add a guy in a black suit here. Give him a little offset. Yeah, this guy's got a red tie, it doesn't really work. The black's nice because it contrasts well with that, but anyways, all right. So that's that. We got this nice pop of color. I would probably hide these legs and either just make them black or do something that ties in with this stuff. So maybe another blue, or just honestly, you could possibly even make these little legs orange. It's just kind of like a secret little pop of color there. See if I make this like 1 and then like 6 foot high. Let's just see what we could do with this. So these, I just use these basic cubes here to cover up the truss, and maybe these are just like some truss covers or something, or something else. But usually you don't see them too much, but you could do some type of wrap over them. So that's what like orange looks like, and obviously there's no lighting on it, but if I did that and then let me just throw a light on it just real quick, see what that looks like. Yeah, that's kind of cool, and you know, it ties it in a bit, and it's not too overwhelming. So I'm just going to duplicate that real quick. So this is a pretty easy way that you can like tie in some subtle branding, if you will. I'm just going to duplicate this again. If I drag it over here. And then let's see if I rotate it. Just gonna need to line it back with this. And that should work okay. So yeah, that's, I dig that. Yeah, good enough. I might just group these lights here so I can adjust them slightly. Group those and then something like that. Cool. All right, so we definitely got two colors going there. I almost want a third color now. Or this is just too big. It needs to be bigger. That's probably the way to go, is just make it the full height, since this logo is just a sort of rectangle anyways. And then you maybe want to adjust this a bit. And this is what always kind of annoys me, is when you can't get the downlights to be in the exact spot you want. It can be hard to get like a good look there. I might do something like that, and then get these ones. Maybe that's not gonna work either. If I select these and then adjust them, or maybe add another one to get them. We're basically just going to have these ones much closer together just to light this logo. And you could even try to rotate them out a bit. Change this to 0. Rotate them out a bit so they don't hit it as harshly. All right, so something like that. Let's kind of go with that. At this point, I think from the beginning, our goal was kind of to have one or two things draw your eye to it. I think it's still the case for these stairs. We just wanted to kind of draw the eyes to the stairs mostly. And then, oops, I didn't mean to do that. So maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll just decrease the lighting of the backdrop a little bit, because I think it was just a little too bright. And now our eyes are going, what are these two things here? And you could also even, this might be a little too bright. Is there anything else we want to try? At this point, you might add in some people and see. Oops, that's what I was clicking. Okay. Add some people and see how they fit in there, and they kind of fill out the room a little bit more. And it might actually, yeah, I might put some lighting on the walls just to give some more ambient light. But I think this is a pretty like simple look. A little bit of layering here with the scenery behind the screens. You can already see how the tables are gonna cover up the stairs. I might bring the tables back as much as I can. And maybe you even want to shorten up the stage a bit. Or move it all back. Okay. And yeah, I'm gonna throw in just some lights on the walls on the left and right side, just to kind of create some ambience there. And let's do this, we'll set this to a foot and then see how far apart we want them. Alright, we'll do something like that, and then just gonna go ahead and copy it onto the other side. Bring it a little bit further away from the walls if we can. Cool, and then I'm just gonna group these. Yeah, all right. Again, at this point now, since the walls are blue, you almost, if we're gonna try to do this like a sort of percentage thing where the sort of one color takes over, let's say like 60% of the space, then we're gonna kind of lean into the blue here. So we want more blue. Since the walls are already blue, we're just kind of adding some white to that to highlight the blue. And then at this point, and maybe I would just turn it down just a tad so it's not, so it's just ambient. Okay, so there's that. And then I think just to maybe like to add some kind of blue to the ceiling, if we will. Let's see what happens if we turn up our moving lights and make them blue. Kind of is cool just sitting on the screens like this, but and I kind of wanted a different shade of blue again. So let's get that similar blue, but then lighter or darker. And I can just select the individual one and hit this aim button, and then maybe either we could do some lighting on the audience or possibly some lighting on the ceiling. If I kind of rotate around here, I think I can hit the ceiling a bit. I think it doesn't like it when I do that, so if we aim it out there and then maybe rotate it up. Okay, so this is okay. It's kind of hitting both. I'll do the same over here. I think the blue is just a little too saturated, so, or it's just the wrong hue. It actually needs to be a little more green in it. This is often where I end up spending a lot of time too, is just tweaking the lighting. But all right, so we'll do that for the moment. And adjust the cone a little bit. All right, so we got like our mostly blue with our pops of orange there, which is kind of cool. And I think we'll kind of finish it up here. We're still missing truss on the front here. I'm probably just gonna copy this truss, since it already has some drape on it. Maybe like right here. This probably needs to come down a tad, or probably more. Something like that. And apparently I accidentally copied our logo. this just needs to rotate a tiny bit. The stage wash, that is. And I would probably go ahead real quick and aim these guys more towards the middle there. So they're kind of hitting our screens. Cool. So okay, we started out to kind of keep the focus on that pop of light on the stairs, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen, which is that the tables always just kind of get in the way there, and you end up not being able to see the stairs. So I want to do one thing real quick, which would be to actually raise up the stage. So what I would do, we're gonna make like one more stair. Just kind of rough it in place there. And this one would be, you could set the exact dimensions, but for me it's just a little quicker right now to just scale it up. So I'm going to scale it up there and then do the same real quick with this. And I'll need to move up to a bit. So now the stage is a little higher and you can see the stairs better. You might adjust the logo at this point. You know, and if we had more time and, you know, you were giving like extra options to your client or something, you know, a lot of companies don't necessarily keep their logo like in the center of everything. If you go to anyone's websites or brands in general, their logos are usually kind of off to the side. So, not that this wouldn't be cool, maybe they'd like it, but you could always play with kind of offsetting a logo like this and then kind of doing some kind of layered thing over here, and that kind of would fill out a little bit more of the space here. I don't mind it too much in the middle, but I think that if you were able to kind of do something like this, again, if you had some more time to play with it, you'd always go into the decor section and just go nuts with adding whatever. I'd probably put this in behind the logo. Again, just playing with this, but yeah, not the greatest, but you could definitely play with that idea. I think there's some other. This is nice and huge. And at this point, so we're trying not to play too much with color, but just the sort of textures. Just kind of fill it out. Anyways, just some things you could always play with. And yeah. Or you could do something like that and kind of have a little seating over here or something to kind of set up this area as a separate area from over here. Probably want a clear podium. And just a couple people I put over here. Let's do like these people chilling. I kind of wish that the logo wasn't at the bottom of this graphic, or if it was more like this or something. But anyways, definitely continue playing with that. Might just make these black, or like a gray. I don't know. Running out of time, and so we're just gonna have to leave it for the time being. Cool. We'll call it unfinished. All right. I guess that's all for today. We will see you on the next one. If you want to learn any more about the program or anything like that, definitely go to EventRender.com, and you can start a demo, or we can set up a call to have a quick demo as well. And what else? You can find a bunch of our YouTube videos just on YouTube, which we cover different things like this and a lot of other more specific topics. These Friday streams are more or less just to kind of play around, answer any questions and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what that's about. All right, I'm stopping. I really don't like these people here. All right, we'll leave it at that. All right, see you guys later.